Interview take two. I don't know. I'm not nervous. I don't know what it is, but the first part was great because I had big thunder and lightning. Oh, it was great. But I like helping people too. I gave out money too when I didn't have a whole lot because it just seemed like the right thing to do. That's dramatic, ain't it? Hi, MrBeast. I'm looking for a job. Apparently, you want to help people. That's what it says on some of your videos and your Twitter. You got the child taking a bath and yeah. So I keep hearing this whole thing, drugs are bad and stay in school. It sounds like a good message. But then when you open up your eyes, you can kind of see something completely different. I would like you to watch Generation Zapped. I know people don't like being told what to do, but if you want to help people, seeing that would definitely transform you into something completely different instead of promoting video games.
We are made of atoms, and we react to electromagnetic fields.
It takes roughly 15 to 20 years for tumors to develop. Cell phones are shortening that to 10 years.
You cannot reverse it, you cannot heal it, and brain tumors are very difficult to treat. So we need to look at prevention, and prevention is not to be exposed.
I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and they found 5 tumors pretty much in the footprint of where the phone used to sit.
We know for sure that there is a direct link between cell phones and breast cancer. So the reality is all these young girls that are sticking the cell phone in their bra are doing it without any safety information whatsoever.
Every cell of the fetus is getting information from the environment, from the mother.
And it's not just their fetus that is super vulnerable. A pregnant woman is more vulnerable than another woman because your immune system is suppressed while you're pregnant.
Autism develops due to changes and due to influences in what's called the perinatal period.
We see de novo mutations, which is mutations that the babies have that the parents don't have, and that can be caused from genetic damage.
What we are witnessing is a real epidemiological change.
The classroom context just magnifies any potentially harmful effects that are introduced by this new technology.
We focus on the router that is on the ceiling, but we're forgetting to think about all of these 25 additive energy producers in the room. Far exceeds the amount of energy being produced by that single wireless router that's on the ceiling.
We've got an analogy of a classroom being the inside of a microwave oven.
I would predict that the cancer you're going to see elevated in children is going to be leukemia.
We would never mandate spraying of DDT in classrooms, children to ingest lead, and yet we're talking about 2B carcinogens.
The district has set a threshold of acceptable exposure at 10,000 times lower than the current FCC standards.
25 years ago, when the FCC standards were adopted for thermal effects, we didn't have all of these wireless devices.
I look at the World Health Organization, I look at my government and the education authorities and the groups like the Department of Health.
The wireless industry spends $100 million a year lobbying the Congress. They have very good access to the FCC, so it's really hard to go up against the economic and political power of this industry, even when you have the facts on your side.
It's very hard to find truly unpolluted advice.
I think zapped is a great word to describe what happens to the human body. You know, you may not hear it, feel it, smell it overtly, but your body does.
Okay, so thank you for inviting me, and thank you all for coming. Okay, so first thing I have is some historical perspective. In 1971, the U.S. Office of Naval Medical Research issued a report listing various health effects produced by exposures to microwave frequency electromagnetic fields, which we usually abbreviate EMFs. And in that, they listed over 100 different effects produced by low-intensity non-thermal exposures. So these are exposures that are not produced by heating and are produced by low-level EMFs that produce essentially no heating at all. And these included 40 different what can be considered to be neuropsychiatric effects. So these include changes in brain structure and function, changes in various types of psychological responses, and changes in behavior. It included 8 different endocrine, that is hormonal effects, including both amino acid-based hormones and also steroid hormones. It includes cardiac effects, which influence the electrical control of the heart, including changes in the ECGs, and producing arrhythmias. And arrhythmias, as you may know, are often associated with sudden cardiac death. So these can be very serious and can be life-threatening. Chromosome breaks and other changes in chromosome structure. Histological changes in the testis. So this is where you're looking at an animal testis where the animal's been exposed to these EMFs and where the structure, the cellular structure of the testis is changed in substantial ways that you can examine under a microscope. Cell death, what is now called apoptosis, a process important in neurodegenerative diseases and also a number of other diseases. All of these things were going on and were documented in 1971, 45 years ago. And the Naval report also provided approximately 2,000 citations. There's 2,000 studies that have looked into one or more of these things that document the various non-thermal health effects of these low-intensity microwave frequency EMFs. So this was already known in the ancient past, and oh, I'm sorry. What is this thing doing? It's not going. Oh, okay. Here we go. So following that, there have been dozens of other reviews that have documented non-thermal effects of various sorts. And there are thousands of primary literature citations, so primary literature meaning specific studies that also document these reports that have come out since 1971. And so among the effects that have been repeatedly documented since 1971 include lowered male fertility, including lowered sperm quality and function, and also lowered female fertility. Female fertility has been less studied. It's much more difficult to study, but it has been studied, and it seems to be lowered fertility also seems to be going on in females. And there are also reports of high levels of spontaneous abortion after exposures. Okay, so some of these are animal studies, some of these are human studies. Oxidative stress has been reported in many studies following exposures. Cellular DNA damage has been reported, again, in many studies. Those include single-strand breaks in the cellular DNA. They include double-strand breaks in cellular DNA. And they also include 8-hydroxydeoxyguanosine, that's that 8-OHDG in cellular DNA, and that can cause mutations of various sorts. Okay, so cancer, which is likely to be to involve these DNA changes, but it's also been shown recently that tumor promotion-like effects also occur in response to EMFs, and so that's another aspect to this that seems to be involved in causing cancer. There are widespread neuropsychiatric effects, including depression. I published a paper on that last year that extensively documented this. in response to a wide variety of different types of EMF, electromagnetic fields. So not just one kind of field, but many, many types of exposures. And therapeutic effects. There are genuine therapeutic effects of these fields when they are at an appropriate level and when they're focused on an appropriate part of the body. And those include stimulation of bone growth, which is the therapeutic effect that's been most studied, but there are also quite a number of others. Okay, and cataract formation has been argued to be a thermal effect. In fact, the literature is very clear that it's not a thermal effect. It's caused by non-thermal effects, and in fact, it's apparently caused by the mechanism that I will discuss later on in this talk. Now, breakdown of the blood-brain barrier, something again, it's been reported over and over and over again. And